If you've spent any time on TikTok in the past few years, you've probably seen one of the millions of videos tagged with some version of old money, whether it's old money style or old money habits. But do they really have the secret to living well? And what can we learn from how the wealthy manage their funds? Joining us now to lift the veil on what really distinguishes old money and new money, we've got Keith Bloomfield, FFT founder and CEO. Great to have you here in studio with us.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about this and just kind of start off by defining what really characterizes the difference between old money and new money here.
So I would say old money is multi-generational. So at this point, we would say it's second, third, fourth generation of wealth. New money is first generation wealth creators or second generation. I think that's the distinction.
How do you then make new money old money? Because that's what everybody kind of aspires to.
Time, that's a good question. Time makes it old money, at least in the wealth management business. That's sort of how we describe it. I mean, new money folks are wealth creators, right? And they've made it on their own in their lifetime. Old money folks are really inheritors. So again, third, fourth, fifth generation where trusts are passing money down.
All right, so we got something for everybody here. So first, on the old money front, say that you have inherited or been able to see some type of trust set up so that you can have access to that old money or the wealth generation of prior generations. How do you make sure that you're also stewarding that the correct way, and what are some of the top tips?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and that's with our old money or third, fourth, fifth generation clients, it's really a wealth preservation model. There's not a lot of inflows coming in, so there's not really income coming into the trusts. They're spending it, right? And so we have to figure out a way to preserve it because there's not necessarily new money coming in ever, and also grow it at a way that outpaces inflation so they can live their lives. And I think, the most important thing is really education. They differ so much from wealth creators, their first generation, their great-grandfather, what have you. And they really need to sort of be educated on how to preserve it and grow it. And I think finding the right advisor that is willing to educate is really important.
What are some of the biggest pitfalls that you tend to see in the old money category?
I really think it's just the lack of education. Like I said just now, is a perfect segue. I mean, they're really not educated on what it means to make a dollar, how fast it can go, and what it means to not be able to have any inflows.
And so now for the new money bucket, when you are in a hyper growth phase of some of the money generation, how do you then set up strategies to make sure that it becomes generational wealth?
I mean, so most of our clients I would put in the new money category. They're wealth creators, they're dynamic people, they're go-getters, they're competitive, and they also understand the investment landscape generally. And so they flock to our firm really because we specialize in alternatives, whether it's private equity, hedge, venture, real estate, and that's where they understand the returns are going to be over the long term. And by investing in those asset classes, they are able to grow faster than liquid asset classes and will go on much longer. And that's one way to create multi-generational wealth with the wealth you've created in your lifetime.
What is the top asset class that you see a lot of new money gravitating towards?
I mean, private equity is really, private equity and hedge we think are really where the puck is going still. Venture was, extremely important over the last 10 years, and we think, while prices are depressed on some private venture funds, we think that's really a place to continue to invest in. Good companies, great ideas, and backing innovators.
As we're thinking about the great wealth transfer that we've talked with many of our guests over the past year about, and the type of wealth that sets to generate for, and really kind of diversify out the equity positions and holdings of the broader society as well. The number of women that are going to become wealthier and close the wealth gap as a result of the great wealth transfer. How do you think that will change some of the wealth generation strategies also that people, whether it's old money or new money, are really going to tap into?
Well, I think people really are focused on educating the next generation. And, 100 years ago, when you made a tremendous amount of wealth, you didn't really include the family and how much money there was, where was it going. It was just a different time.
Yeah.
I think today where we are is the amount of communication, of course, with social media and what have you, is incredible. And I think families understand it's important to educate the next generation, explain to them that, if you have multi-billion-dollar family, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that wealth, both to manage it properly, do good with it, if that's what you're looking to do, and also preserve it for the generations to come. So I think communication, education is becoming an important part of our business because people want their wealth to last multi-generations.
Keith Bloomfield, who is the FFT founder and CEO. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Thanks for having me.